time DM. I am first time DM. Hope you're doing well tonight. We are continuing to paint our goblins for Tyranny of Dragons. We pretty much have their leather down, their leather outfits, and I have given them all different color hats because I found at the table when you're moving everybody around, it's confusing. I mean, you can talk about the one with the two scimitars, right? Well, this guy has two scimitars too. Well, the running one with the two scimitars. Well, how closely do all my six players have to analyze the board or the battle mat? The Chess X battle mat is what I generally use for our around the table games. And so I found color is one of the easiest way to do it. And so it's a little bit of a compromise. Sometimes you could work it into the lore, but this one I decided just because they're goblins, because they're sort of low level fodder in our campaign, which we're doing I'm DMing a very modified Tyranny of Dragons. The players are level 5. This was originally going to be, and again, spoilers for any players of Tyranny of Dragons. Although this particular interlude is one of mine creation, but I want to throw that out there because there will be spoilers potentially for players. DMs, you're invited. And again, if you're like, the Tyranny of Dragons, I'm not going to play that, then welcome. And my players, please turn away. You shouldn't be here. Anyway, so we got these guys. We got 8 of them. I actually really just printed them because I wanted to sell them in my Etsy shop, which you see information in the crawl if you're so interested. And I will be selling not these particular ones, but I will put these up on my store for sale, which these are rescale miniatures designs, the 3D models. I print them. I have a license with Rescale Miniatures, which, if you're into these sorts of things, they were formerly known as Lord of the Print. And so I print them myself. They're licensed, and I paint them to order. And I would love to have you, come to the store. Anyway, I was really just creating these for the store, but I was thinking that in the encounter I'm building was basically going to be an overwhelming troll adventure. There's 3 trolls attacking a 6 party member character PC group, which is deadly. The caveat there is I'm hoping that the party in defending this caravan that they're going through I should get the Troll Claw Hills or the Troll Hills or called something like that in the Forgotten Realms on the main road right above Baldur's Gate. Anyway, I was just going to do the troll attack, but I had a very successful combat session last Friday. We play in person on Friday nights. Last week, with what the players didn't know what they were. They were jackal wares, and I was hoping, or I was thinking, I had planned for the players to follow these jackal wares to this place, and then there would be a big battle, and then all sorts of surprising things would happen. The players had different ideas, which is awesome, and they just killed them all in the tavern. And it was a very quick encounter, not balanced at all, but it worked for the narrative. It worked for the characters, and it was fast and snappy. It wasn't sometimes with 6 players. It could bog down the game in combat, and we have some newer players, and we have some expert, AD&D, original AD&D players, from the 80s in this group, which is great. I love the mixture, but sometimes we're not super fast. And again, it was a nice change of pace to have this quick combat. Now, what's happening tomorrow night is not going to be a quick combat, but I was folding in these goblins to sort of emulate what they experienced last week. Like, oh yeah, we'll just take him down. This is the first time DM doesn't know what he's doing. Yeah, well, that's the first wave. Then the one troll, then the second troll, then the third troll. And if they really get investigative, perhaps they will find a intellect devourer in the hills, in the foothills. Why is he there? Well, there you go. That's the question. Anyway, tonight I need to finish these trolls because we are playing this encounter tomorrow. So they might not be, I might still work on them a bit in the future, but I want to get them done enough where they work. Table ready, as they say, right? So I think I am just going to quickly do the swords. Let's see. What brush do I want to use? I'll use my nice one. Okay. So who goes first? Let's take some of these guys out of here. I don't want to play favorites, so there. Whitey, right? How close can I get? I know that thumbnail that I use is way too close and really shows the. I live in Florida, and it's really hard to prime them with the humidity down here during summer. So we're going to have to explore different options. So the priming wasn't great. But again, this guy doesn't have a sword. I picked the one guy that doesn't have a sword. There you go. We'll do this guy. So again, I have not really done anything with the weapons so far. And again, hope to just get everything done. So basically what I want to do tonight, the plan for the stream tonight is to get them table ready and be done with it. And then I'll fine tune them, sometime in the future. And so what does that entail? Well, I got to get the weapons done, as you could obviously see here. I usually, when I do groups, I generally do one and I get everything sort of like, okay, this is, with the coloring and this is how I'm going to do it. With these guys, I've been doing more sort of the Warhammer style, just batch them. Doing swords, do sword, and whatever. There's pros and cons to each method. I always find doing the first round of any mini painting is you really sort of learn the mini, how to bring out its innate cool qualities, how to compensate, for sometimes the prints, sometimes, whatever it is, maybe, lack of detail in certain areas, all sorts of different things. And again, we're just shooting for table ready here. If I'm going for perfection, I'm not going to get it done. So, but that doesn't mean I don't want them to look great. And I think last night's stream, and I'm trying to stream Monday through Thursday, and starting around 8:30 and seeing how long I could go. I have kids, they have school, I have jobs. So we're going to do the best we can, but we want to get her done. I want them on the table tomorrow. And so, okay, so what do we got to do? So obviously we got to paint the weapons. They have some rope around them. These goblins do, as their belts. You know, they've sort of cinched it. Essentially, they're raggy, leathery, raggy outfits. So they're pretty primitive, and that's sort of what I wanted. I wanted primitive goblins that perhaps are being controlled eventually by other unseen creatures from the Underdark. And but basically they're there to just make an appearance, give the players a feeling of overconfidence, more or less, and die, and then see how the rest of the combat goes. But again, as I discovered last week, the players will do what the players want to do, and honestly, that's one of the things I love about the game. It's that you plan to give your players a fun experience. You hopefully do give them a fun experience, and then I have a plan. I know what's going on with the story. I know what's going on with the characters. I know what's going on with the larger world. I know what's going on in the Underdark, more or less. I really don't, but something. And beyond that, we see what the players do. We see what we need to do as far as making it fun. And then, fill in the blanks. I like not to... I like to know what's going on. I like for everything to make sense. Even if it's unexpected, even if it's like non-traditional, like, oh, there's trolls and goblins being controlled by intellect devourers or the creatures that are controlling them. And that's sort of, as deep as it gets. Like there was I had a few. So the players are acting as guards in a caravan for the, as I said, the Tyranny of Dragons campaign. And they're doing this because they want to infiltrate the cult of the dragon, which is also, quote unquote, secretly in this caravan as well, although the players know it. So the players have hitched a ride as guards with other non-Cult of the Dragon wagons that are in this larger caravan going from Baldur's Gate up to Waterdeep in the Forgotten Realms. And so the player's mission basically is they know that the Cult of the Dragon is here. They've been waiting for them in Baldur's Gate. And now the plan is, we know you have the gold. We know you stole the gold. Why have you stolen all this gold, which is atypical of Cult of the Dragon activities? And what is it for? What are you trying to do? And while the campaign sort of gives the store away pretty early on as far as the cult's ultimate objectives, I'm playing with that a bit. The cult may or may not be doing what the campaign says they're doing. We will see how that goes. And so but the players right now are just spying. And so I'm coming at them with basically overwhelming enemies. And they have, 6 characters in their party. And, all of the wagons are being attacked. I have 4 miniature wagons that I have built from scratch, 3 of which are the wagons that the player characters are embedded with, non-cultist wagons that are on the same caravan. And this will give the opportunity of, like, everybody is going to be attacked by the trolls. The trolls don't distinguish between one or the other. They don't particularly have a goal other than mayhem. And so perhaps the cultists and the players might have to team up. Or maybe a player character will have to save some of the cultists that get in over their heads. And maybe the cultists will remember that these non-culty people helped them out in pinch. And maybe they might invite them into the fold later on. But again, those are the possibilities for the players, right? That could happen. And if it does, great. And if something else happens, if the players get a different idea of how to handle the situation, then that's what they're going to do. So we'll see. We'll see. This one, I think I'm just going to do silver on the tip. I don't know. We'll see what we're doing. Anyway, yeah. So that's sort of the setup. There you go. Yeah. All right. So there we go. We got all of our swords and javelins. It's pretty much all. And then a couple magic users. Okay. So I want to make this rod out of wood. I actually, for wood, I like the Grunta fir as my wood a lot of times. I mean, it does great fur, don't get me wrong, but I like it, especially when I start out, because again, there's a lot of brown in these goblins, right? And so I'm doing wood here, which is the Grunta. I always call it the Gorgunta, even though I know that's incorrect. I know nothing of Warhammer lore. I imagine a lot of these paints, these Citadel paints that are made by Games Workshop, have to do with Space Marine stuff. But I know nothing of that. So I call them whatever I want to call them. Anyway, I think it does a nice, easy wood, or at least a base for wood. And it's also, I'm not using this. I use this sort of brown, at least in this specific case, only for wood. So there will be a distinct difference between all the other brown and this brown, because it only exists on this spear, javelin, whatever you want to call it. That looks pretty good, right? I'm sorry if I ever make it so you can't see. Look at that. I think that looks pretty cool. You know, for the orange guy. Okay, so that's the only one that has that wood. Put that over here. Okay, they have these rope ties. What do I want to do for rope? Again, I want it to sort of stand out. I don't want to do a matching color because that gets too goofy. I think I'm going to use... I'm going to try with the shade. Seraphim Sepia. We got seems to be a thunderstorm going outside, but I expect that you can't hear it. Anyway, let's see how this looks. This is a pretty thin shade. So is it going to do enough? Probably this is, so the belts are pretty much unpainted. I put a little off-white on them just to distinguish them from the brown, and yeah, that's fine. I'm going to do this. I'm going to let it dry, and by the time I finish the 8th one, I could generally, everything's, that's one of the nice things about these paints is they dry pretty quickly. Once I've gone through all of them, it's dry enough where I could go and do another color or another round, and I'll probably hit it with some sort of other shade, dark color to go into the recesses of the rope and bring out those little details that you might otherwise be missing. Again, it's rope. I don't want to draw too much attention to it. I already have some of the goofiness. I mean, we got a bright orange head over here, right? So, I mean, there's a little suspension of disbelief here with this color selection. But again, I wanted it to be on the table. I want things to be fast. I want things, I don't like miscommunication at the table when it comes to what players want to do and who the players want to attack. And again, it's a speed thing. If there are all these goofy colors, I want to hit the purple one, right? Like what's easier than that? There's a lot of goblins out there. I mean, we have 8 here. Player wants to hit the purple one. You're not going to misinterpret that, right? Again, it's just a way to keep the game moving, honestly. And, there's not much to be gained by... oh, Jesus Christ.